Good afternoon, everybody. Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year in advance. I had to talk back for yet another vlog related to the BBC. Originally, I was just going to do something about the BBC itself, but I'll come on to find this. Yeah, here we go again. Another one of these wonderfully red-bordered letters that tells us we're all being criminals or something, I don't know. As you have not responded to our letters yet, you've left us no alternative to proceed with final stage of investigation. I think I've already read this one, actually, on the previous thing. Yeah, they'll visit any time they like, any day of the week, morning or evening. We can apply to the court for a search warrant, take your statement under caution, final to a grand, blah, 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 who gives a toss? Yeah, so it's the same old intimidation. Not very intimidating, really. Oh, yeah, we could come round any night of the week. Yeah, we're going to catch you. Okay. If you believe so. But over Christmas I spent my time with a family who have a television licence because they do like watching television. Fair enough, you know, if you enjoy it, that's fine. I personally did not miss watching live television, having seen it when I was there. I had Channel Dave on, and I don't know why, because it only shows the same programme, or at least it did over Christmas. Top Gear's Burma special was on about 7 or 8 times. Considering it's nearly 2 hours long, after adverts are included, it's a lot of slot on the time schedule. That's not had anything done with it. But they're not covered by the TV licence. The BBC are. Now, they have quite a lot of repeats. It's inevitable. They're going to show movies that get shown every year. You know, you're always going to show the likes of It's a Wonderful Life. Someone's going to have The Great Escape on. Many versions of A Christmas Carol will be on. They did also have some new stuff, though, to be fair. Like they had the premiere of the Avengers movie. It's only 3 years old now, for God's sake. They had like the Muppets movies being premiered on New Year's Day, I think, or something. But one of the things I did catch, and something I've always been sceptical about, is their news broadcast. Their news approach is very often alarmist, and what has been summed up before by the wonderful acronym, the British Bullshitting Corporation. And I saw that firsthand on Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Over that period, if you're a gamer, if you have Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, you'll have found it very difficult to get online. I was away from consoles, so I never tried. But I know people who have, and they were constantly unable to get online. And yeah, with it being Christmas and many gamers having friends all over the world who are part of guilds and leagues and God knows what else, it's nice to say Merry Christmas in a party chat. It's nice to actually say it vocally. It's a bit more personal. It's a great thing to do. And also you can say, I know it's Christmas, I know we're supposed to be celebrating, but who fancies a game of COD, or who fancies a game of F1, or do you want to do a co-op on Portal or something, whatever you want to do. Now, the thing is, the BBC covered this. I don't really know why. It was one of their second biggest headline at one point. It's like, it's not that drastic news. Gamers can't play Xbox. What are we going to do? You know, it's like, it's not something that needs to be in high-end part of the news. It should be covered, don't get me wrong, but it's not something I'd put as high priority when you've got things like the closure of a major parcel distribution out of nowhere and thousands at risk of unemployment. That is something that I consider much bigger news than people who can't sit there yelling at squealers on Call of Duty. Just my opinion, and I am a big gamer before I don't think I'm just some guy who's out of touch. And the reason this annoyed me wasn't just because they said you can't get online. If that had been the extent of it, it's the truth. But they actually have one of those annoying features where they go out and they meet someone in their home and they show, like, you know, this person's got a big kit and rig or God knows what else. And then they also were in some kind of, I don't know, some kind of store or some kind of warehouse, or maybe in the studio for all I know. And it had the consoles of the current generation up there. And it started saying things like, when you buy this console, you are joining a wider community. It's no longer about sitting at home and inviting your friends over. You join a much bigger network. Well, yeah, you can. You can choose to go on PlayStation Network and you can choose to go on Xbox Live. But they just said, without this online, these computers do not work. Horse shit. Bullshit. dog shit. Choose any one of the above, they all apply. I know this because I'm a big gamer. You can play Xbox One and PlayStation 4 offline. What you can't do is download updates, access cloud-stored games, access cloud-stored saves for those games, and you can't obviously enter into any kind of online service. In America, for instance, you can use the Xbox One as a television receiver. Without an internet connection, you can't get any data. It's as simple as that. But the fact of the matter is, you can still use it as a gaming console. People complained to Microsoft about the fact that when they initially launched the Xbox One, it had to always be online to play at all. All your games would be stored up there, and then you have to download them and re-delete them, and you can't, if you can play for a max, you have to be online within every 24 hours and something like that. And gamers widely said, no fucking thank you. And Microsoft embarrassingly declined down, going, well, we were misquoted on certain things. You know, we weren't saying about everything you need this for. In other words, oh shit, we've been rumbled. We've been accused of being greedy. Let's try and win the trust back. And the BBC and other news agencies covered this as big articles. Microsoft has embarrassing climb down. Games are going to be on physical media. You don't always need to be online. That you can find those articles on the BBC's website, on the news. If you want to search, you can find them. So why, when it comes to covering this outage, did they not say people can't access the online content and it is like an old school gaming console? Hell, that might have actually appealed to people. Oh, I don't have to go online. I don't have to do it. People who might have been intimidated about having to join the next generation, who haven't done the research, like parents buying it for the 14-year-old kids, for instance, who have seen games go from like cartridge that you're gunk into and that's it, to having PC 56k dial-ups, to wireless internet connections, to wireless controllers, high definition graphics, cinematographic voiceovers, downloadable and switchable hard drive save states and achievements and in-purchase gaming and all these things that can be an overload of information. But this one thing made it seem that you have to have online services and you have to know all about this to use these consoles. You don't. It's absolute bullshit. So that's what annoyed me. People are paying every year voluntarily. Well, if you watch TV, you're volunteering to watch it, so you're having to pay. It's not quite voluntary, but it's as close to voluntary as it gets. They're supporting this corporation. And the corporation has to do certain things to keep it in the public domain. Like they have to cover country news. They have to cover mass in churches. They have to do investigatory reports and all the other twaddle. The fact of the matter is, though, your money paid for that type of journalism. So you have gone £145.50 if you're a licence fee player and you're someone who watches television live. You've paid for that thing, so that's £145.50, billions every year, and yet they can't even check that their information is true. They can't even ensure that they're not going against their own newscasts. We saw what happened with the Jimmy Savile investigation, where after the article was pulled from Newsnight, they were saying, oh, it's because it was an investigation into the police, and everything else. And it's like, obviously, it wasn't. If you've watched all the investigation reports since, you've heard from the journalist behind it. It wasn't ever that. They've got their hands burnt so many times, and if you can't get something as simple as how to turn on a computer or a console, how the hell can you possibly be trusted with covering independent news? You can't, and that's bullshit.